Before we begin, I'd like to extend a thank you to Nunez Community College, Rachel Segure and Leo Murphy of Parish Government, Department of Film and Television. Thank you, guys. And also Mike Sherman of Sherman Strategies for their assistance with today's event. Yes, there you go, Mike. I'd also like to recognize the St. Bernard Chamber's 2019 annual sponsors. Without their support, events like this would not be possible. Our parish pillar sponsors are Chalmette Refining, the Miro Foundation, the Port of New Orleans, and Valero. Our business advocate sponsors are Associated Terminals, Clements Insurance Services, EMR, and St. Bernard Economic Development Foundation. Our business advocate sponsors are Associated Terminals, our chamber supporter sponsors are Amanda Miller Realty, Atmos Energy, Crave, Domino Sugar, Ortis Electric, Rain CII, and Silver Slipper Casino. Thank you all for your investment in the Chamber. I'd like to now introduce Elizabeth Dautrieve, CEO of the St. Bernard Chamber of Commerce. There you go, girl.
Hi, everyone. Before we begin with the rules for tonight, I'd like to make a couple of announcements. First off, early voting will begin on Saturday, September 28th, and continue through Saturday, October 5th. The primary election will take place on October 12th. To view ballots and find polling locations, visit the Louisiana Secretary of State website at www.sos.la.gov. This is a reminder that the St. Bernard Chamber of Commerce does not endorse any candidate for elected office. The purpose of this forum is strictly educational. We believe it is important for the business community and the public to have the opportunity to hear and learn more about candidates running for elected office. Please note that these questions were prepared by a committee of the St. Bernard Chamber of Commerce. St. Bernard Chamber of Commerce staff were not involved in the finalization of questions. No candidate has had the opportunity to review these questions ahead of time. During the forum, the candidates may request for the question to be repeated. Candidates may not, however, request for further elaboration or interpretation of the question. Candidates should do their best to answer the questions as presented by the moderator. Questions will not be taken from the audience. Candidates will be mindful of the timekeeper and will end promptly when his or her time to speak has ended. Candidates will be respectful of their opponents and refrain from any interruption. Additionally, the audience will be respectful of all candidates and will refrain from any interruption. At this time, please ensure that your cell phones are turned off. I'd now like to introduce our moderator, Michael Sherman. Mike Sherman is the founder of Sherman Strategies, LLC, a project-based legal consulting firm. He has previously served as Mayor Mitch Landrieu's executive counsel and director of intergovernmental affairs, in which he was responsible for developing and implementing the city's strategy to interact with government bodies. Mr. Sherman is also the adjunct professor of political science at Tulane University, teaching courses on American government and the political system of New Orleans. In addition to his teaching, Sherman is a frequent analyst of Fox 8, where he covers local and national politics. Prior to his service in city government, Mr. Sherman was an attorney in private practice based in New Orleans. Please join me in welcoming our moderator for the evening, Mike Sherman.
Well, good evening. It's great to be here. It's an honor to be here during this really important part of the election process. My job tonight is to be efficient, so while I give some introductory remarks, I'll invite the candidates for the Senate District 3 to come join us on stage. So, State Senator, please join us. So the questions were prepared by a committee from the Chamber, a volunteer committee. I'll do my best to read the questions. Happy to repeat them for any of the candidates. And I hope you'll join us on election night. We'll be doing live coverage on Fox 8. So can't believe the election is less than 1 month to go. I think the commercials have now taken over our airwaves on the evening news. So it's a good reminder. So we'll begin with opening statements. I'll start, Mr. Bowie, with you for our opening statement. You have 60 seconds.
Well, good evening. And I want to thank the Chamber for affording us an opportunity to interact with the public regarding our candidates. I'm Joseph Boyd, and I represent District 97 presently as a member of the House of Representatives. For the last 5 years, I've represented District 97 and offered innovative and effective leadership, and has done that through two mechanisms. One, as a two-time chairman of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus and a floor leader for Governor Edwards, I have been intricately involved in working on those problems that have affected our state. Specifically, for instance, that $2 billion deficit that we finally got to $300 million, I was able to work across the aisle with both Republicans and Democrats. I have the relationships in both the House and the Senate to actually get the job done. I look forward to your questions. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Gregoire.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Brandon Gregoire. I am a retired Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Marine Corps. I just completed 23 years on active duty this March. I'm running for 3 reasons. This is my first foray, obviously, into the political realm. I'm running for 3 reasons. First, to bring my nearly quarter of a century's experience in senior managerial excellence, working as a speechwriter for the Commandant of the Marine Corps, working at a national intelligence agency, being a commanding officer of 500 Marines, all of those experiences to the betterment of the residents of Southeast Louisiana. I'm running too so that our voters can have a choice, so our kids can have a chance. And 3, I'm running so that I can bring a new generation of leadership focused on true accountability, discipline, and ethics. Today, at present, since I retired, I am the Director of Operations, so the Chief Operating Officer of the New Orleans Military and Maritime Academy, which is a high-performing charter school located in Federal City on the West Bank. I thank you again for having me here this evening, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Our first question to Mr. Bowie. Auto insurance rates in Louisiana are among the highest in the nation. What ideas do you believe will and won't work in order to lower auto insurance rates?
Thank you for the question. There was a bill offered by Representative Talbot this particular session, who actually was offering a bill that would actually he actually articulated that it would lower rates, and what he was actually referring to was accidents and tort reform. I thought that bill actually was an ill-conceived bill, because actually it would not actually lower rates, and actually it took rights from citizens, because one of the components was that it would allow actually individuals to be sued as opposed to insurers. One of the things I think we can do to actually lower insurance rates is to actually perhaps decrease the amount of liability in terms of what is required for a jury trial. Present law says that you have to have at least $50,000 to do that. If in fact we would do something to either lower that, we could perhaps have a situation where we could not have all of these frivolous suits, and it would actually lower insurance rates. We also have to work with the insurance commissioner to ensure that he actually makes those insurance companies accountable and have some equity as it relates to what the rates of insurance are in Louisiana.
Thank you, sir. Same question to Mr. Gregoire.
Thank you. And along those lines, the Talbot bill, I think, tried to bring the threshold down from $50,000 to $15,000 for a jury trial. I too would 5,000? Yeah, I too would look at something along those lines. I understand, obviously this position for Senate District 3, Senator represents 3 parishes. It's my understanding in St. Bernard, the insurance rates are the highest out here for automobiles. So we have to look at, in a number of ways, this is a tort reform piece. We have to look at, this, in a lot of ways, there's undue familiarity, perhaps, with between judges and attorneys, and how do we get that element out of the situation. So again, I would look at lowering the threshold. We also need to look at, I think you have 1 year as it stands to bring a suit against an individual. So if we extend that perhaps to 2 years, that allows for individuals to work out things, do a settlement, so that they're not actually bringing something to trial in a very quick fashion because of some superimposed timeline that they have to meet in order to bring their suit to trial.
Thank you very much. Question number 2, Mr. Gregoire, we'll start with you.
Sure.
As one of St. Bernard's fundamental economic drivers, the maritime industry relies heavily on funding from Baton Rouge. How would you work to ensure that this region's maritime industry, both industrial and recreational, are protected and enriched at the state level?
Certainly, I would meet with all the leaders of business and industry in the maritime realm in the parish. Obviously, being at the New Orleans Military and Maritime Academy, we have a focus there upon trying to bring young students, young people into the trades and vocations in the maritime industry. We send them out on tall ships, things of that nature. We bring in speakers and teach them how to get a job. Not every student is going to college. So looking at what mechanisms we can in place as well in our schools so that we have a pool that would support the maritime industry. We have a nationwide dearth as it relates to the maritime trades. I know that as a former Marine Corps officer in a number of ways, and it impacts our shipbuilding. So again, meeting with leaders of the maritime industry here, ensuring that their needs are met, the resources are brought in, the right incentives are in place for the industry, and then also trying to foster a pool of individuals from amongst the community that can go into the businesses and jobs in that realm.
Mr. Bowie, same question.
Thank you. My major responsibility as representative of District 3 is to actually 3 different parishes. So when you speak to a specific condition and concern of one parish, as in the case of the maritime industry, the thing that separates me from other candidates is my demonstrated leadership and my relationships in the legislature. And so what I would do, obviously, is to meet with those from St. Bernard Parish to see what it is that you would like me to do relative to legislation that will impact positively the maritime industry. Because of my relationships, I would be able to impact through legislations those things that you would identify for me to do. It's one thing for a legislature to say what we want to do and ideas we have, but the truth is we represent you. I would represent you and could do that very well because of my relationships in the legislature.
Great. Mr. Bowie, the next question to you. Coastal restoration is a very important issue to our region. Where do you see the balance between dredging and diversions and our need to redevelop land while taking care of commercial and residential livelihoods?
Thank you for the question. Coastal restoration is among one of our most serious issues that is threatening the entire district. Issues like settlement diversion, issues like what happens when you have an impact of what coastal restoration offers in terms of its impact on the fishery industry and so forth. Those are the kinds of things that must be balanced. As your representative, I will ensure that that balance will always be one of ensuring economic development, but first of all, recognizing that if we don't do something about ensuring coastal restoration, then everything may in fact fail. Because of the BP settlement, we actually have federal monies also coupled with that. What I think should happen is that the state should have some skin in the game. And one of the things I would be willing to do is to talk about how we can deal with some additional revenue to dedicate actually state monies to those coastal restoration issues.
Mr. Gregoire, same question.
I have a threefold platform, the second pillar of which is infrastructure, and a lot of that is based upon coastal restoration, erosion type issues. In a number of ways, in addition to what Mr. Bowie talked about with BP funds, things of that nature, we also have GOMESA funds. And we have to make sure that we get our fair share brought back to Louisiana in that regard for the drilling rights that the current administration is giving to various companies. I worked for a sitting United States Senator when I was in the military. I worked on Capitol Hill in the U.S. Senate. For Claire McCaskill, former Democratic Senator from Missouri. So I know Washington. I lived in Washington for 10 years, owned a home there. So as it relates to advocating and articulating our needs from the state level up to the national level, I am very comfortable in that realm.
Thank you. Now it's time for closing statements. We'll begin with you, Mr. Gregoire.
Once again, Brandon Gregoire. I'm a Lieutenant Colonel retired in the United States Marine Corps. This is my first foray into the political spectrum. I am bringing a different form of leadership to the race. I just retired in March, had a penchant for politics for a long time, and I feel that I am the most inclusive candidate who's going to represent all 3 parishes, not just Orleans or a little bit of Jefferson. I've come out here several times talking to your influencers. I understand what the needs are in terms of market credits, in terms of ensuring the movie industry, which is bringing a tremendous amount of revenue into the region, is sustained and preserved and taken care of. And I look forward to meeting all of you offline as you're able to. And also, I ask you to go to my website, brandongregoire.com, where you can learn a little bit more about me and my platform. Also, I'd like to highlight that I'm the only candidate who has received a unity endorsements from the Greater New Orleans Republicans PAC. I received their RDO, which is the oldest political organization in New Orleans, their endorsement as well as Democrats for Education Reform. Thank you.
Mr. Bowie, your closing remarks.
Thank you very much. This legislative cycle will be extremely important. We will have a serious turnover in the legislature. We're losing 40 members in the House and 19 members in the Senate. And because of my relationships and my demonstrated leadership, I have earned the endorsement of those who have not only served in the legislature, but organizations who are concerned with the political arena. Specifically, I'm endorsed by J.P. Morrell, the sitting senator for this district, Congressman Cedric Richmond, Council President Helena Moreno, Council Member Jared Brassett, Sheriff Marlon Gussman, the AFL-CIO, Alliance for Good Government, Independent Women's Organization, New Orleans Coalition. That is almost every organization that is concerned about positive political leadership, demonstrated leadership. I'm seen in the legislature as one who advocates social and economic justice, and is seen as one who is a voice of reason. That's how I was able to work across the aisle, and I look forward to working for you in the Senate. My name is Joseph Bowie. My number is number 55 on the ballot. Thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity to serve you.
Please join me in thanking our candidates for State Senate. I'll now invite the candidates for District B to join us. Dr. Bowie, it's nice to see you, sir. Great to meet you. Our candidates for District B. And a special welcome to our Facebook friends watching on Facebook Live at home. Those were great questions. I think I know what Norman Robinson feels like putting folks on the hot seat. Kind of enjoy it. More fun to ask the questions than answer them, I think. I want to welcome our candidates for District B. We're going to begin tonight's forum with opening statements. That will be 60 seconds. I'll start with so we have Ms. DeFreitas.
Yes.
Please.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jessica DeFreitas. Tonight I'm here to tell you why I am the best choice to represent District B. I believe that I am the most qualified candidate for this office. It is one that I have worked within our community my entire life to earn. Not only will I be an independent voice for our residents, but I am not affiliated with any national party or backed by the political machine. So you won't hear me up here reciting buzzwords that others have whispered in my ears. I have dedicated much of the last 9 months to researching, planning, and implementing new ideas, but I've also taken the time to listen to the issues and complaints of our residents and looked for solutions. That is what this race is about, our residents. Creating transparent, efficient, and progressive parish that puts the wants and needs of its population before personal egos and special interests, all within the confines of a balanced budget to create a better quality of life for our residents. It's easy for everyone to be on the same page, especially when someone else is writing the story for you. I'm ready to work with you to make the next chapter in our parish history.
Thank you. Mr. Moran, your remarks.
Hi, my name is Josh Moran, and I would like to thank the Chamber tonight for hosting the forum. I am married to Christine Moran and have been married for 13 years. We have 2 children, Riley and Gavin. I am a licensed master plumber at Moran Plumbing and Heating for the past 10 years. I am chairman of the Tomato Festival, member of the Knights of Columbus, and former board member at the Buccaneer Villa Swim Club. The issues facing District B and all of St. Bernard Parish are as followed. Economy, community development, drainage, and the communication between parish government and residents as we move forward and still have experience in population growth in the next few years. It is our duty as parish government to make sure that we take financial responsibility as a main factor as we take on the new task of maintaining the whole drainage system for parish government. Thank you.
Mr. Moran, we'll stay with you for the first question. With so little new commercial development and sales in the district, what ideas do you have to address the lagging aesthetics of the district and attract new businesses?
Great question, thank you. I believe it starts with relationships. We need to actively look into community development, look outside of St. Bernard Parish, what has helped us in the past and what has, helped other areas. But we are unique in St. Bernard Parish, and we need to make sure that we are communicating with our residents and our businesses for what is going to happen and what can we help them do. We need to tailor businesses to come to St. Bernard to make sure we give them what they need, and we have the property to make sure it happens. We need to make sure we have leaders who are going to push our issues and make sure that we have leaders who are willing to work and be dedicated for every cause, especially community development in St. Bernard. It's our main goal to move forward in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Same question.
My plan would be to start by working with our Economic Development Foundation and reaching out to GNO Inc. They are the economic think tank in our region. We need to talk with them to see what are our blind spots to attracting business and fill in the gaps. Having sat in workshops with Michael Heck, the CEO, myself, I can tell you from their perspective, the largest economic driver is quality of life, which is the focus of my campaign. Our economy will grow with increased residency. Residency will increase with more affordable housing, better amenities, and more recreation opportunities. These things all go hand in hand. As a council member, you are a legislator, but you are also an ambassador for our parish, and we need to be sure that we are always putting our best foot forward when attracting new business. We need to focus on our strengths and maintain a positive attitude and not complain about our weaknesses. No one wants to be part of a losing team. I think that we should use our cultural and recreational uniqueness to tap into the $18.5 billion cultural and tourism industry that Louisiana enjoys and create a niche market for day trips from New Orleans to bring some of those dollars here to St. Bernard.
Thank you. We'll stay with you for the next question. How can you plan and implement the creation of recreational activity zones and improve the quality of life for the residents in your district, considering its large commercial demographic?
So part of my platform from the beginning has been the development of something that's been in the works in parish government for a long time, and it's something that has been referred to as the Town Center Project. It's a large tract of land that's directly behind the Village Square development, and there was a plan proposed and a committee called at one time to develop that into an arboretum, which is a natural forest, public soccer fields, and a dog park. And those three amenities right there would be a huge driver for new residents. It would create an amenity block, if you will, directly in the middle of our district with very little investment from parish government. To my understanding, there's already been some private funds that have been donated. I've already met with the president of the Louisiana Soccer Association, and they're very excited about the prospect of creating that in St. Bernard. And I think that anyone who wants to move here will be wooed and wowed by our proximity to the CBD. We enjoy a very safe community, but that's not enough. And so recreational amenities beyond just recreational sports for youth is something that we definitely need to invest in.
Thank you. Mr. Moran?
Yes, thank you. Look, St. Bernard is home to the best recreational fishing land that we have in Louisiana. We have great recreation sports for our youth. But yes, we do need to improve our quality of life. But I do have concerns when it comes to budget. We can put every park that we want in St. Bernard Parish. We can build any amenity that you want. But what makes great leadership is understanding quality of life is important, and we need parks and we need everything for our youth. But financial responsibility, making sure we can maintain these parks in the upcoming years and be fiscally responsible to know what is a course of action and what we should put on the back burner. But yes, the same land that she is speaking of, we want to put a park, but there are holds on it because there can only be movable objects on it. There is no permanent structures allowed. And we need to make sure we have people willing to work with state and local government to take variances and put them in effect for parish government to use and actually put bathrooms on these places and make sure that we can use it for economic development and bring a tax structure for St. Bernard Parish government so we can move forward.
All right, the last question will stay with you, Mr. Moran. What do you propose to do to bring in new businesses, and what types of businesses do you believe will meet the residential and commercial needs of your constituents?
Thank you. I do believe that we do need more business. We are hamstrung because of not having an interstate. But it doesn't stop us from recruiting businesses, having leaders in our community who will go out to New Orleans and actively recruit. Find businesses that are industrial and shipping needs, things that will work well with our community. We have refineries, we have a sugar refinery, and we need to make sure that we have people who will work with relationships in the community outside of St. Bernard and find out exactly what these businesses are looking to accomplish and how can we help them accomplish it. It's only possible with communication between parish government. Our government is terrific right now, and I believe they're doing a great job. But it's going to take leadership in the next few years and dedication to make sure we are pushing forward for St. Bernard and actively recruiting new business. You can have all of the land in St. Bernard that you want, but if you're not working to bring business to St. Bernard, you're not succeeding. Thank you.
Mr. Freitas?
Could you repeat the question, please?
What do you propose to do to bring in new businesses, and what types of businesses do you believe will meet the residential and commercial needs of your constituents?
Well, I was very fortunate in the last year to have graduated from the New Orleans Regional Leadership Institute, and one of our classes that we did do one of our sessions was on economic development specifically, and the need for more diversified businesses in St. Bernard other than industry. I think industry is our largest employer in St. Bernard, but as we all know, the oil and gas industry can be very fickle, and so those jobs come and go as the market changes. I think what we need to focus on is growth of small business, to use the tools at our disposal through the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Foundation has some excellent programs called Grow St. Bernard, where they work with budgeting businesses within the community who are trying to get on their feet. I've explored the idea, which was not very well received, of doing some sort of taco truck or food truck park. That would be another incubator for small businesses, working with the culinary program at Nunez Community College to set up a day of the month where those trucks could come in and get their feet on the ground here in St. Bernard, with the option to maybe later open a brick and mortar. I think that we need to definitely look outside of St. Bernard, but there is a lot of opportunity here within our parish, and I think that if we open our hearts and our doors and our minds to other ideas other than large-scale businesses, large-scale developments, we will definitely help grow our economy.
Thank you. Now it's time for your closing statement.
I'd like to thank the St. Bernard Chamber for hosting this event and for giving us the opportunity to address the residents of our parish. I would also like to express my gratitude to my family, friends, and campaign volunteers for their unyielding support throughout this process. People often say that I'm loud and opinionated, and it's true. In fact, my husband likes to joke that the only thing in St. Bernard bigger than my mouth is my heart. It's not that I apologize for being who I am. If I seem too passionate, it's because I care. If I come on too strong, it's because I feel strongly. And if I push too hard, it's because things are not moving fast enough. I love St. Bernard. This community is my home. The people here are my family, and I'm not going anywhere. I ask tonight for your vote so that together we can build a future in St. Bernard that everyone can be proud to live, work, and raise their families in. Thank you.
Mr. Moran, your closing statement.
Once again, let me thank the Chamber for hosting the event. Dedication, loyalty, and the need for business in St. Bernard is what's going to push us forward in the coming years. I applaud myself for making sure that I get out and know what every resident needs, what every business needs, and communications is going to be key in the next 4 years. Population is growing. It is before our eyes. And District B's leadership is changing right now. And we need to make sure the people who are going to lead us there in the next few years are going to make sure they have everyone's best interests and need at heart. Drainage, parish government, and all of the other issues facing us in St. Bernard Parish need to be addressed. And we need to have leaders to make sure that they are there to do it. I would like to thank everyone who has supported me thus far in the candidacy, especially Councilman Gorby, the parish president, and the sheriff. Everything that I have done is because of dedication and the timely need for parish government.
And that's time. Please join me in thanking the candidates for Council District B. Well, I'd like to now invite the candidates for Council District D to join me on stage. We are efficient tonight, so we're running a few minutes ahead of schedule. We could invite the Council District D candidates, or I could tell jokes for 10 minutes. I will stick with inviting the candidates for Council District D. Nice to see you. Of course, nice to see you. Welcome to the forum for Council District D. We'll begin with opening statements. Ms. Alcon, your first statement, please.
Thank you. Thank the Chamber for having this event tonight, and thank all of you for attending. I'm Wanda Alcon. I am the present council member for District D. I was born and raised in St. Bernard Parish, married to Clyde, mother of 3 sons and grandmother of 5. On the council, I represent the Film Incentive Review Commission, chairman of the Cable Access Committee, Regional Planning Commission, and Economic Development Foundation Board. I received the 2017 and 2018 Legislator of the Year Award from the Alliance for Good Government. I was named the 2017 St. Bernard Business and Professional Women's Club Woman of the Year, and just recently I received an Ambassador Award from the Lieutenant Governor for, for tourism advocacy. I'm also involved in my community by being a member of the Autism Awareness Crew, which I serve on the executive board as the secretary. I am a member and past president of BPW. I am the state president of St. Bernard of the BPW Louisiana, and I'm a member of the Los Islanos Society. I'm dedicated to District B and St. Bernard Parish, District D and St. Bernard Parish, and I look forward to another 4 years to continue the progress.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Hunt Jr. I am not from here originally. I'm a Cajun boy from Lafayette. I kind of lost the accent I've been here about 7 years. And I came here after the storm. When you seen a bird in the sky, you got excited because there was something alive. I've never been here before. I know we've come a long way. I am a builder by trade. My dad and he's over there, and also my lovely wife. You should go shake her hand after the debate. She would love that. And we started putting houses together, and we fell in love with the place. And since then, I've had 2 kids, Abby and Drew, and they're going to Joe Davies. And now we run a full-fledged mortgage banking operation that we're in 9 states that started right here in Chalmette. And we are growing every day. And I want to take my talents to the district. I feel a burden to help out. I'm not here to say who's done a bad job. I'm here to say that I feel I can do a better job, and I'm looking forward to earn your vote.
All right, Mr. Hunt, the first question goes to you. St. Bernard Parish tax base is heavily dependent on a large number of industrial businesses. Given that the parish has parcels of land designated for industrial use, what would you propose to do to develop positive relationships between parish government and industry to attract, retain, and grow these industrial businesses?
Well, if we're talking industrial, I'm hoping that we have some questions here about the port, because I've been out knocking on doors, and every one of our constituents has been asking about the port. And I said, you know what? We're looking into it. I know it's going to have a major quality of life issue. That's my opinion. And there's only so much land in St. Bernard Parish. Right now, if you're talking industrial, yes, we have quite a bit of land. There's only so much to go around. So do we just pack everybody in? And I propose that industrial is good, jobs are good, but at the same time, we're a small parish. We only have so much that we can do as far as expansion. So maybe more industrial growth is not the answer. Maybe it's attracting service type businesses because of our proximity to everywhere. We can get in the quarters from Chalmette in 10, 15 minutes. Maybe we should be going after that, and that's what I think. Now, as far as retail is concerned, we're going to have to get the demographics going on that, because, last debate, I remember they asked, what big box store would you want? You know what? If we don't have the demographics, if we're not constantly involved in attracting productive citizens to come join this jewel that we call the parish, then retail is never going to grow, and we're never going to get businesses to come fill the vacancies. And that's what my candidacy is about. I want to attract these businesses that make sense for our parish, but at the same time, not totally give up on our quality of life.
Thank you. Ms. Alcon.
the industry in here is, in St. Bernard, is what gives the biggest bang for the buck for our employees. They are the highest paid employees, and it is a good thing, but we can't be totally industrial. We do have to bring in the other elements, such as the film industry, which is spending in leaps and bounds in St. Bernard Parish right now. We have tourism. We have our fishing industries. We have other places. With our fishing industries, we could bring in plants that would package the seafood, sell the seafood, distribute it. We have filming. They need more sound stages and everything. And so all of these things are also build, but not make our parish totally industrial, because I don't think totally industrial is a great move for our parish. We're small, and we need to be able to have a quality of life, and I don't think all industry creates a better quality of life for our residents.
Ms. Alcon, the next question. Neighboring parishes are already offering recycling programs to their residents. Do you think it would benefit St. Bernard to offer a recycling option for residential and/or commercial waste? And how would you implement this option if so?
We do have a form of recycling. People can bring their recycling to our dump plants in Parish Road and in St. Bernard, and they can use those. We've checked into pricing, and it seems to be an astronomical cost for us to do recycling. However, we never stop looking, and we always keep trying to find a new way that will make things better for our planet and for our parish.
Great, Mr. Hunt.
Well, when it comes to recycling, I don't know if I mentioned to y'all this, but I'm actually qualified to sit for the CPA exam. I never did go and get my license, even though I do have a bachelor's degree in accounting, because I had to take a pay cut, and I just didn't want to do it at the time. You have to go work for somebody. With that being said, recycling is great. Listen, I'm a steward of the environment. We have some of the best oysteries, minus whenever they're dumping fresh water into and ruining everything, but we have some of the best areas when it comes to our environment. But again, the accountant in me says, I want to see if it makes sense as far as cost. Okay, we're a very small parish, and if it makes sense, then I'm all for it. If you're really passionate about recycling, there are places where you can gather your stuff and also drop them off to make sure that you're living what you'd like to do. But it's all about a cost thing. I think it's a great idea, but it all comes down to the mighty dollar.
Mr. Hunt, in District D, there are empty businesses among some of the parish's most prominent corridors and neighborhoods. How can you target commercial growth that provides more family-friendly amenities in your district? And what kind of amenities do you think are most needed?
All right, now, when it comes to amenities, it all depends on listen, I'm going to give you a secret. I'm a free market capitalist, okay? I am all about unadulterated capitalism. People out there can go and make something happen and experience the American dream. The market is going to dictate what we can and can't do. Now, people like me, okay, and Miss Wanda, can come in and also spur that and help it grow even more. As far as what we need people like me. Number one, I sell the merits of St. Bernard 24/7. I love this parish. You hear me? I love this. I could live anywhere. I want to live here. This is where I want to raise my family. So, when it comes to that, every day, I'm always, especially my district, guys, we have Joe Davies. My kids can read in kindergarten. I couldn't read in kindergarten. I love everything that is. So it's all about spreading the word and getting the productive citizens that we want to come in here and make our community better. Every day, we're doing that by providing them mortgages and all the different programs that we have. So if we get the productive citizens here that we want to come in, okay, and give and make everything come up, those businesses will come back. So that is what we need to focus on. But in the meantime, it takes a representative that has a business mind to be able to talk to these people and be able to tell them, hey guys, here's what we can do for you. Here's why we are a great choice to come to District D or just St. Bernard Parish and join in on what we have going on.
Ms. Alcon?
In District D, in the past 4 years, we've gotten the Tractor Supply, the Walmart, the OTB, a Taco Bell. There's going to be a new school built next to the Tractor Supply, and a new business, an old business is relocating in the old Winn-Dixie building. So we do have some economic development happening. Is it enough? No. I sit on the Economic Development Board. I represent the council on the Economic Development Board, and every month we have meetings and we're discussing what's the new possibilities. Andrew Jacquet works very hard trying to bring in businesses. It's not easy. People don't have have to drive through St. Bernard to get anywhere, so they have to know that whatever business is brought here will be supported by the residents. So we need to bring in more residents, and I feel certain that once this new census goes through, and they find that we have more residents, we will be able to entice more people to come to our area and open more businesses. Not just big business, but small business. And like I said, the filming industry is booming. That is a big boom to us. Tourism. Look at all the events we have, what we can do with tourism. We have the Islanos, we have the Battle of New Orleans. We have so many things that can bring economic development to this parish. We don't just need to bring in big business. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Alcon will stay with you for your closing statement, 60 seconds.
4 years ago, when I was elected to be the councilman for District D, the residents told me they wanted to see their council members. They wanted us to be visible. I have been a full-time council member to this district. I've spoken at Kiwanis meetings. I have spoken at Literacy Day week in schools. I've answered phone calls. I have held town hall meetings, and I've attended every event in St. Bernard Parish that is possible for me to attend. I've helped raise more than $5,000 for our recreational parks, and I've secured a grant just recently for over $300,000 to put a new park in District D, which will be going on Paul Drive. As a matter of fact, we have groundbreaking tomorrow. I have spent the last 4 years trying to be visible and help the people of District D, and I will continue to do that. We've accomplished a lot, we have more to do, but all together, we all working together, and I ask you to re-elect me, Wanda Alcon, number 71, on Election Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Again, my name is Andrew Hunt Jr. I'm running for Councilman District D, and it's not because I need a job. It's because I want to give back to the parish that has done so much for my family and I. And I know that if I'm able to earn your vote, I will represent you and things will happen. So if you have not met me yet, I would love to meet you and shake your hand. And just please, when I knock on your door, don't just answer, because I want to talk to you, okay? Thank you.
Let's thank the candidates for Council District D.
Nice to meet you, man.
I'll invite the candidates now for our last race of the evening, Council District E, to the stage. We are just a few weeks away from one of my favorite events in the parish, Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. I see Bill Haynes from the Miro Foundation here. October 5th at Dockville Farm. I see folks pumping their hands in the audience. The lineup looks incredible this year. What a special time to be in St. Bernard. Oh. I was going to give my fun Araby facts, fastest growing community in America, one of the top 10. Congratulations. But so much excitement happening in St. Bernard Parish. Wow. We can applaud to that. There's a lot of great things happening in St. Bernard Parish right now. I will save my fun filler facts, though, and we'll get right to District E. So Council District D, we'll start with Mr. Corley, opening statement, please. 60 seconds.
Yes, my name's Jimmy Corley, and I live in Christie Parkdale with Ashley Harlickson and my 2 kids. And what else can I say? I'm born and raised down here in St. Bernard, Eastern St. Bernard Parish. Graduated from St. Bernard High School in '97. In 2008, I started a business called Waterfowl Specialist Guide Service, which is a duck hunting and inshore fishing charter company. So, need to say, I'm getting nervous. But I would just like to say, I would like to get y'all vote, you know? Getting a little nervous up here. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Everhart.
Yeah, no. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for holding this event. My name's Fred Everhart, Jr., and I'm running for Councilman of District E. As your former councilman of District E, I accomplished a great deal during the rebuilding phase of our parish in 2008 from 2012 following the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. My family and I are lifelong residents of St. Bernard Parish. District E needs a councilman with my experience who can hit the ground running, who knows exactly what it takes to get the job done. If elected, I'll focus on key issues: mosquito control, drainage, fisheries industry, maintenance and repairs of streets and lights, and fighting settlement diversions. I will work tirelessly to address any concerns and residents from the District E. I humbly ask for your vote on October 12th.
Thank you. Mr. Malero, your opening statement.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for having us. My name is Louis Kuhn Malero. I've lived in White Closkey for 56 years. Between me and my family, we have spent over 100 years on the same property. I have a wife, I have 3 children. District E is the largest geographical district in the parish. We have an historical site, we have an eastern part, and we have a western part. Every district, every section of this is unique. District E is vital to St. Bernard. In the last 4 years, we've had major improvements. We've had a shipyard, we've had new water systems, power lines, fishing docks for the public to enjoy. We've had an overlay and bank stabilization on Delaware Highway. No other administration has ever done so much for District E. Has it had any blemishes? Yes, we had to close Firehouse 10. I would like to try to open that again. We also need 3 men on the fire truck. Improvements for government can only be made when working together, legislative and administrative. I feel I'm the best candidate because I have a relationship with the government that's in there already today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The first question, Mr. Everhart. As part of its master plan, the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority is looking to invest money in Southeast Louisiana for coastal restoration. What is your opinion on any of the proposed projects that could impact your district, and how do you feel the money should be spent?
My number one priority is rebuilding our Barry Islands, putting projects together that's going to dredge and not divert fresh water into our estuaries. District E has a $4 billion industry with commercial fishermen. I'm here to protect the culture and heritage for future generations to come. We need to keep focusing on dredging, rebuilding our Barry Islands, and putting shoreline restoration projects together to ensure that they will not erode again.
Thank you, Mr. Malero.
Could you repeat the question, please?
As part of its master plan, the state's Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority is looking to invest money in Southeast Louisiana for coastal restoration. What is your opinion on any of the proposed projects that could impact your district, and how do you feel that money should be spent?
Freshwater diversions is not the answer. The only make an impact on land is to pump land. Freshwater diversions, it'll be forever. Dinosaurs will rule the earth again before we get freshwater to build up land. I am an oyster fisherman, which was totally devastated this year. I had to transition my boat to be a shrimp boat now. We cannot let this happen to us. If we get a freshwater diversion, this is going to be a natural occurrence every year, and it will destroy us. I'm all for building land, but freshwater diversions are not the answer for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Corley.
Just like they said, excuse me, just like they said, freshwater diversion, you got to dredge. The freshwater is not going to build the land fast enough. You got to dredge, pump land, fix the barrier islands outside, put rocks around it, pump the land in. We'll start work from the outside in. That diversion they want to build, that's going to kill us. Look what happened with the Bonnie Carey Spillway. All that fresh water came in, put us out of business. Killed all his oysters, pushed the shrimp out, things like that. I had to travel almost 2 hours just to catch a speckled trout, burning 35 to 40 gallons a day. It's ridiculous. So I would definitely say the diversion is out the way.
Thank you. Mr. Malero, the next question to you. The proposed Commercial Fishing and Aquaculture Protection Act is the first time Congress has taken a step toward establishing a permanent disaster assistance program. If elected, what steps will you take to make sure the act passes Congress, and describe the impact it would have in your district?
Well, finally, we have our parish president stood up for us this year. As far as the commercial fishing, we have never gotten any respect. I'm an oyster fisher. He's a charter captain. He's a crabber. As me, as oyster fishing, I see myself as a farmer, but on water. So why shouldn't we get the respect that the rest of the whole country gets for farmers? We pay taxes, we buy stuff, we do everything for this country. Why not give us some respect? I'm finally happy that someone's finally taken up for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Corley, same question.
Well, let's see how we can start this. Let's see, like the diversion part of it again. Yeah, they stepping up for us and all of this, but there's still more things that could be done on this issue here. Like as far as like the freshwater and all of that, we gotta do other things, but I don't know. We just see how it works out. I'm just so nervous up here. It's unreal. It is. It's sad, man. I can't even talk.
Your heart's in the right spot.
Man, it's like I care about the community and I want to get a lot of things done. I got a lot of things going through my head, but it ain't coming out my mouth. You know, it's just this is unreal here, man.
We all know you're a great guy, Jim.
Man,
Really.
man.
Repeat the question from me.
Sure, Mr. Everhart. The proposed, you don't see that kind of collegiality in these national debates, do you?
Man.
Makes my job easy. The proposed Commercial Fishing and Aquaculture Protection Act of 2019 is the first time Congress has taken a step toward establishing a permanent disaster assistance program. If elected, what steps will you take to make sure the act passes Congress, and describe the impact it would have in your district if it does?
Well, as an elected official, what you have to do in order to keep these proposals I'm putting us into the Aquaculture Act is that we got to stay on our state and federal levels, our congressmen and our state senators, pushing this forward. I've been to the last Crab Fed Task Force meeting I went to. They told me the Department of Agriculture told us that the act was probably not going to take effect within the next 12 months. So we still don't know exactly what's going to happen with that act and how is it going to be proposed. It's still needs to be voted on in Congress. So we need to make sure that we stay on top of it, keep it in the news, and keep pushing that this becomes a reality.
Thank you. For the final question, Mr. Corley, we'll begin with you. Each year, New Orleans sees an increase in tourism with over 18.5 million visitors in 2018 alone. Louisiana is considered a sportsman's paradise, and the parish sees visitors every weekend for fishing and hunting. Do you see an opportunity to further expand tourism in your district, and if so, how?
Well, yes, I'm a charter captain, so I deal with the tourists, get them come down to St. Bernard Parish, spend their money, stay at our places, eat our seafood. I would like to get a couple more things done. We could do a lot more tours. Twice a week, a bus comes down to Shell Beach. They go by Mr. Don Robin, eat their oysters and everything, and then they'll go down and look at the monument. We could fix up that area, have a nice park area down there for them when they come. They could look at the monument. Take them on a tour to the battle over there by the I can't even talk, boy. Jeez. Over there to the fort. You know, like there's a couple things that we could do to make money. We can hook up with Katie Tomasio, get a lot more tourists to come in, and then make money like that too, you know, bring it to the economy. But for as my business, I bring people in from all over the world every day, you know, like for instance today I had people from California that come hunt. We do TV shows and all, trying to get the population of people to come down there and see exactly what we have.
Thank you. Mr. Everhart, same question.
District E is unique. It sells itself to tourism. You got this Isleño complex. You have commercial fishermen. You have the recreational fishermen. You have different areas down in the eastern part of the parish that promotes itself with camps and history and culture. So I mean, in order to promote it even more than what it is an understatement. I think it's already promoted and it's thriving itself.
Thank you. Mr. Malero.
I believe in not tapping all of our resources. I believe that District E can be way more than it is. We should have more tourism down there, but we need to clean up our waterways. We need to clean up our low sections where everybody unloads. We need to take pride in our area and respect. The Isleños Museum is a great benefit for us. I believe that we are missing out on a lot. If I'm elected, I will continue to try to clean up that waterway. Thank you.
It's now time for closing statements. Mr. Everhart, we'll start with you.
First, I'd like to thank the chamber again, and I'd like to commend these guys for coming up here. And being a councilman and being an elected official, you open yourself up to a glass house. You know, everything you say and do is therefore in the public. Putting y'all guys out here and trying to better y'all parish and better y'all district, just like I was and I have, is kudos to y'all. If I'm elected, I'm fully intent to dedicate all my time and energy to resolving issues and demands of District E. I plan to work hard and generate monies and fundings in order to accomplish goals set forth in my campaign promises to ensure that the residents of District E obtain resolution in any problems at hand. I'm fully devoted to the St. Bernard Parish. My passion is once again strong to support and be their voice on their behalf. Our culture and heritage must be preserved for future generations, and the beauty of District E must continue to thrive well into the future. Please elect me the voice. Sorry.
You can finish your sentence.
Please elect me, number 75, to be once again your voice of District E.
Thank you. Mr. Malero.
Again, thank you, Chamber of Commerce. I feel like I am the best candidate to maintain momentum. I will bring fresh ideas, energy, and willingness to work hard. I plan to be that person to help solve problems in District E, not to be a problem. I promise to look out for all the people in my community, and not just in the eastern section, the historical part and the western section. Thank you.
Thank you. And final closing statement, Mr. Corley.
Look, I might be nervous, but this ain't me, you know. I don't consider myself a politician. I'm just a young man from District E who cares about the community, who wants to get things fixed. I like to get the flooding fixed. Florissant Highway has to be raised every time it floods for a hurricane. The channel has to be opened up. There's a bunch of things down there that still got to be done. Like they said in the mosquito control. You go outside yesterday, the bugs carry out your door, you know? There's just a bunch of things that we got to get done. But I would like to fight for it. Yeah, like I said, I'm nervous as hell up here in front of all these people. I never did this before, you know? But like I said, I still want to hope y'all get my vote for me and stuff like that, you know?
All right, let's thank all the candidates for District E, please. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Jotrieve, but I want to say thank all of you for coming out tonight, to everyone watching on Facebook. We appreciate you coming. This has been an incredible opportunity. I want to thank the Chamber for inviting me to listen to all the candidates sitting next to each other. I always feel bad during my Tulane classes when I end an hour early, so I offer the students to provide them an additional hour. And I have a fascinating paper on federalism I'd like to share with you, but I think I'm just going to turn it back over to Ms. Jotrieve, and thank you for the time. We'll get out a little early tonight.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. Please go out and vote, and thank you all for joining. Have a great night.